Hey there, friend! Welcome to the very first episode of Toast for Dinner. I'm so excited you're here. My name is Danielle, and I am a registered dietitian and home cook who believes that real-life meals don't have to be impressive to be enough. Let's get started. Can toast actually be dinner? I think it absolutely can be. But let's be honest, it really depends on what's on the toast and how you're feeling after you eat it. If you've ever made toast for dinner, or any meal for that matter, and then found yourself standing in front of the pantry 30 minutes later looking for something else to eat, ooh, you are not alone. I have been there many times. I was legitimately there yesterday as of this recording. But I've also had times where I've had to make a quick meal or snack, and that has left me thinking, wait, that was so delicious and so satisfying. So today, that's what we're talking about. How to make toast for dinner or any meal feel satisfying without much extra effort. Now, as a registered dietitian, I don't know that I can freely talk about toast and carbs and how to make toast your dinner without addressing the fact that carbs and toast and bread and pasta and potatoes, they all in general get a bad rap, right? They're often seen as empty calories. But here's the thing, actually two things. Number one, carbohydrates are your body's preferred source of energy. I'm going to get a little sciencey here, but long story short, glucose is the literal fuel for your brain. It's helping it run and keeping you focused on this podcast that you're listening to right now. Number two, and here's kind of the more important one, although they both are important, there is no such thing as quote unquote empty calories. A calorie at its most basic is just a unit of energy. The only way a calorie could be empty is if it contained no energy, which is scientifically impossible. It's kind of like the saying, there's no bad weather, just bad outfits. And while you can absolutely choose what you eat, you have agency to do that, avoiding carbohydrates for the rest of your life seems pretty miserable to me. I, for one, would be really sad without them. Big potato and bread girl over here. The key is not to avoid carbohydrates, but it's about how we dress them up. Sometimes you're in a hurry, running late, and you don't have time to grab your umbrella before you have to be out the door. Other times, you make time to prepare yourself for the day and grab a raincoat and boots because you know it will help you stay comfortable and ready for anything. Both are valid choices depending on the day, and neither one is a quote-unquote bad choice. It's the same with food. You can have a slice of plain toast, or you can choose to add a layer of protein and some healthy fats and fiber to make a complete meal that truly works for you, whatever your day ahead looks like. I hope you know that carbs are not the problem. They're easy, reliable, and ready for whatever you've got laying around in your fridge. It's just that sometimes we don't give them enough to work with. In this episode, we're using toast as our guide to learn how to change that. So here's what I've figured out after a lot of trial and error. And by error, I mean a piece of toast followed by half a bag of chips and a few spoonfuls of Nutella straight out of the pantry a couple hours later. When a meal or snack doesn't feel like enough, it's usually because something is missing. Some part of what makes a meal satisfying. Let's call them meal builders. This is the big three: carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Think about it this way. Carbohydrates are your fast-acting energy, the immediate fuel you need to get things done. Protein is digested more slowly. This keeps you more satisfied and fuller for longer, keeping you from looking for the snack or candy jar 20 minutes after you eat. And healthy fats give you richness and that satisfied feeling that signals to your brain that your meal is complete. And for a bonus, we can't forget about fiber. She's having an it girl moment, and it's totally well-deserved. Fiber is what you get in things like whole grain bread, vegetables, and beans. It adds bulk to your meal and helps you feel full and satisfied for even longer. So if you're having just toast and butter, you're getting some energy and some fat, but you might be missing that key staying power from protein and fiber. And that's usually why we can end up back at the pantry soon after eating. For me personally, balancing my blood sugar is also a big part of feeling satisfied. When I don't have enough protein or fiber with my meals, I can feel really sluggish and tired and then be hungry again 30 minutes later. So I try to add a little bit of protein and fiber to keep things steady and help me to actually feel full. Here's the thing. Part of making this work is keeping a few staples on hand that make it super easy to throw together a balanced meal, even on days when you don't want to think. This is where those meal building basics come into play. It's not about hitting all 4 categories every single time. It's just a way to do a visual check-in and think, is there something small I can add to make this toast or plate make me feel more satisfied when I'm done? Honestly, part of why I lean on toast, or let's be honest, sometimes it's a quesadilla, is because I do keep a handful of staples on hand that make throwing something together like this way more simple. So here are some things that I typically keep around. If we're talking specifically about toast here, of course we have to start with bread products. My husband and I both bake sourdough, so we typically have some of that. I personally love a sprouted grain bread for the texture and flavor. My favorite is Little Big Bread from Silver Hills Bakery. And we always have high fiber tortillas for our quesadillas. For proteins, we typically have some type of leftover chicken, whether that's grilled or rotisserie chicken. We also love using the Tyson's grilled and ready chicken for our quesadillas. We also keep canned tuna and eggs on hand for other sources of easy protein. For fiber, gotta love a can of beans. Always, always, always have those in the house. Hummus and leafy greens, in addition to broccoli, cauliflower, things we might have on the side of our toast. For sources of healthy fat, we typically have avocado. We also have cottage cheese, and for something a little bit fancier, ricotta cheese. Love that. And then we keep on hand some flavor boosters like chili oil, hot honey, regular honey, hemp seeds, chia seeds, and of course, flaky salt. When I keep all these things on hand, I can throw together a meal in literal minutes that hits at least 3 out of the 4 of those meal building basics. It's about making the easy choice also a choice that supports my well-being and how I'm going to feel in 15 minutes. Now that we've gone over some staples that I keep on hand, let me give you a few of my favorite toast combinations that actually leave me feeling full and satisfied for hours. The first one is a classic for a reason. It's just a whole grain toast with peanut butter, banana, cinnamon, and hemp seeds. The hemp seeds add some fiber and protein, and a peanut butter and banana toast situation. You can never go wrong with that in my book. The second one is that sprouted grain bread that I told you about with hummus, leftover rotisserie chicken, and arugula, maybe some lemon zest on top. Oh my gosh, y'all, hummus on toast was a revelation to me, and I love it. It's so good. Feels so fancy, and it's so easy. The next one also is a fancy moment. She's a fancy girl. It's some homemade sourdough with ricotta and some sliced peaches. I live in the South, so it is peach season right now, and oh man, are they so good. So ricotta, sliced peaches, honey, a drizzle of honey, and flaky salt. Oh my gosh. It's like you paid $25 for a fancy toast at brunch, but you get to be in your PJs at home, and it's the best. And then the last option is, of course, our go-to, especially on busy nights, and that's a high-fiber quesadilla with that high-fiber tortilla, black beans, and chicken. Also, bonus, we feel like we are winning at life if we have sauteed peppers and onions. Again, this is not about getting anything perfect. It's just about feeding yourself in a way that actually leaves you feeling satisfied. So why does this even matter? It matters because when food is satisfying, you don't have to overthink it later. You don't spiral into the fridge. You don't snack your way through your evening and wonder why you still feel all off. If this is something you struggle with, you are not alone. You don't need a recipe. You don't need a plan. You don't even need to follow the meal building basics to the letter. But if you ever find yourself blankly staring into your refrigerator, wondering what's for dinner, a piece of toast and a couple toppings might just be all you need. And that's it for today, friend. Toast can be an actual meal, and if you give it a little support, it can be a really good one. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope this gave you a new way to think about toast, or at least permission to eat what you already wanted to eat. Go make yourself something good, and remember, it doesn't have to be impressive to be enough. Toast for Dinner is written, produced, and hosted by me, Danielle Hooker. You can follow me on Instagram at Toast for Dinner Pod or at Danielle on the Daily for more behind the scenes and kitchen rambles. If this episode made you feel a little more confident about feeding yourself, please send it to a friend or leave a quick review. It helps more than you know. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a substitute for individualized medical or nutrition advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider or registered dietitian for personalized recommendations.